Hi, my name is Jeff Pagano, and welcome to the Harper on Rugby preview show on our YouTube channel. Please don't be shy with the like and/or subscribe button if you can. Joining me to look ahead to Leinster's trip to West Wales is someone earning his 114th cap. A warm welcome to Mr. Neil Keego Keegan.
How are we? I am back. I had a trip to Turkey for a hair transplant, so I missed you over the last couple of weeks, but we're back in business now.
You're well up on the Turkish rugby scene as well. I'm sure when you're over
100%.
there. Yeah. Okay, listen, before we start, Keego, we haven't seen you for a few weeks. And over that time, our scores went from 62 to 52 to 41 last weekend. So what's going wrong? Is it Leo out or what?
It's absolutely unbelievable the run Leinster are on at the moment, especially when you consider lads coming back from Six Nations, going straight into the European rugby, zeroing two teams. Now, there were home games and all that sort of stuff, but with great performances. And then a big score last weekend as well. There are a few players that right now are unplayable, and it's great that they're on our team. Dan Sheehan, you can't play that guy. It's just not going to happen. It's frightening. Snyman is the same. Even if you get him to the deck, somehow with his frying pan hands, he's going to get the ball into someone else's hands. And I think Ringrose is on the way back now. I think he's pretty close to being his unplayable best. I don't know if it's the angry moustache or what, but he's really playing. I know there was a little bit of an issue where he was going into a couple of challenges head first, completely clean that up while keeping this demonic defense going. And I think he had a great game last weekend as well. So it's a truly amazing time at this point in the season where things are going in this direction. It's not even leveling off yet. We haven't even got to the level off yet. So yeah, it's a great run of form they're going. And just before we get into it, I also feel really bad for Munster after last weekend. I will start an argument with them in a few minutes,
Hmm.
but they got
You
shafted
can throw him a bit of
again.
sympathy. Yeah,
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 they
yeah.
got shafted, and it's very tough to combat that. The referees are going to miss stuff. That's where the TMO and the lines people need to get involved. They're too scared, but I am good for Munster.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, but just on Leinster, it's just like a lot of people were saying, like, oh, we're not learning anything from 60 point and 50 point blowouts, and I suppose that is true to an extent. But the fact is, if to anyone who's watched those games, the team had to get back together after the Six Nations. Everyone says, well, Leinster play most of the Six Nations, so they have to switch back into wearing the blue jersey, and it's not an easy thing to do. But you could tell from the start to the end. I think that what the lads have said on the pods over the weeks have been not so much the 50 and the 62, but it was the nils
Yeah,
that they played 80 minutes. They were as determined to keep them off the try line in the last minute as they were in the first
yeah.
when it was still a contest. And I think that's key. If they can keep that momentum going, keep that kind of teamwork going, through to the later knockout games, that we'll definitely be doing well. We'll just see how they go.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's the big starts that I'm loving because sometimes we would trust, and obviously the defensive system is there to be trusted, but not all the time. But sometimes we would let them take the first shot, the opposition take the first shot, and then come back at them. Whereas we're all starting going forward, and it's just it's a little bit of anger, a little bit of frustration, a little bit of everything coming in here. And with that, with the well organized team and the obvious skill level, it's really impressive to watch.
Absolutely. Okay, so listen, now it's time to look at our feature match of the week, which is, of course, Scarlets v Leinster in round 16, not the round of 16, by the way, of the 24-25 BKT United Rugby Championship. The game is taking place at Parky Scarlets on Saturday, April 26th, kicking off at 5:15 p.m. TV coverage is on RTE2, Premier Sports 2, and Sianel Pedwar Chimri, and also URC.tv. Leinster named their matchday squad at lunchtime on Friday. If you're watching on YouTube, it should be right there on the screen. For pod listeners, it's in the program notes. Keego has picked out some points about this Leinster team, starting with their scrum half.
Yeah, so I think you're going to correct me on this. I think last week was the first time Ross Byrne wasn't in the 23.
Yeah. Nope,
Yeah,
not going to
so
correct you. That's absolutely right.
yeah, so he's back in this week. He's also playing really well, but Gunn in there beside him at nine. I think we've seen him come on. We've seen a couple of great bits and pieces for him. He's going to have freedom to play the game with that experience beside him, and it's a really big. Anytime you get a shot, and again, I've got to balance what we think should happen without sounding disrespectful to the opposition. So Gunn will have time to operate. If I'm saying that in as nice a way as I can, he will have time to operate. He will have time to see the game. He will have time to kind of serve dinner for everybody else. And so it'd be great to watch him do that. Not a lot of pressure this weekend on him, so there is that. He can put one foot in a starting pair of boots in a big game with a big shot this weekend. So yeah, it's going to be great to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And for your second point, you're looking at Kieran Frawley.
Yeah, so we've seen him play at 10 whenever they can. Now he's at 15. Like again, I pay for the jersey, so the game is easy from the couch. But you're kind of going right. If we want this guy at 10, let's say that's the plan. Let's figure out what's going on between the ears and get that sorted and keep him in that position. So, you know, now he's showing up at 15. Where do Leinster want him? Start with Leinster. Where do Leinster want him to play? Because up until this point, it was 10, and the form is there, the skill level is there. We saw the end of last season. We saw what he did, and it's just not quite ticking for him at the moment. I don't know if putting him in another position is the answer. I don't know if they're just saying we need you on the pitch around the team to get that mojo back, or do they say like, okay, you're not starting, you're not in the squad this weekend, but you're 10 next week or something like that. I just think it's a little bit of a mixed signal to the player who is massively brilliant at what he does. It's just one of those kind of patches of form that isn't sticking for him. Is this the right move, or are they just going to go back to putting him in at 13 on the wing, full back 10? What are we doing? Make a decision, or go back to what we were doing.
Yeah, I mean, at 22 we have Charlie Tector, who at the start of the season we thought was going to be an out half, but I have a feeling that I think Frawley is there as the backup 10. But I think you're right though. I think it's not just about him playing it out half. He'll probably get 20 minutes in this game. I'd say they'll move people around. They'll maybe move Osborne or Jimmy O'Brien to fullback, and they'll make changes that way. But it's not just about having the game time. He needs to know. They tell him on the Tuesday of the week, you're this week's out half. He needs to train for the week, knowing he's got that 10 jumper at the end of the week in, week out. He can get to know the team around him if that's going to be his long-term position. So you give him a couple of runs, and he hasn't done great, but he does need a run of games. And in a match like this, I think they could have given him the 10 as well. Yeah. I'm sure there might be other reasons for that. I don't know, but from his personal point of view, it'd be nice to have him, knowing he's 10. But of course, Ross Byrne can definitely do the job. He's been gone doing his own thing this season, and along with Vincent Gunn, should get us off to a decent start. Okay, your third point is more about the team overall.
In general, so when we're talking about back rows, we kind of pick them straight away, our final team. But most recently, there's been a lot of chopping and changing and resting and things like that, which is a great position to be in. Will Connors coming in for a start. Fantastic player. Just again, tough run of injuries for him, but another shot for him. I think Soroka played pretty well last week, and then James Cullen as well. It's a really strong back row, and then Ryan Baird in there, the fastest man on two legs on that team in there playing in the second row. It's everyone has played, everyone has contributed, and it's not easy going to Wales, where it's going to be mostly Leinster supporters in the audience. It's going to be a tough day for them to get their heads into it, and the trust that's been given to the entire squad for the last, certainly the last 8 or 9 games has been really, really good.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Ryan Baird in the second row, because the injury report during the week had James Ryan at the bottom in the no further updates section. And once you find yourself in that column and it's coming to the end of April, beginning of May, you start thinking we may not see them again this season. So Baird and Deeney and Mangan on the bench as well have all had good outings this season. So there could be an audition for those big knockout games later in the season in the second row. In the back row, that's Soroka, Connors, Culhan. It's a great trio there. Connors, we've been talking a lot about Tommy O'Brien and his injury profile and how we wanted him to have a run of games. Will Connors is another one who's been like that. He could be way up there, and he could be crucial as well to our knockout performance. He can start no problem, but he does that. He's got that specific tackling style, and that could come in crucial. So it'd be good to see him get a run there. Also, we might have a debutant off the bench, Ruben Maloney. Played for UCD. I think he had an appearance on a bench in a friendly for Leinster at one stage before, but this would be his first senior Leinster cap, so congratulations to him. Okay, now it's time to have a quick look at the Scarlets. They currently sit 9th in the URC, but are just 3 points behind Cardiff in 5th, and have had two bonus point wins in a row over fellow regions, Ospreys and Dragons over the recent weeks. Though seemingly they have not beaten an Irish opponent since a 40-36 win at home to Connacht in March 2021. What do you make of their lineup, Keego?
Well, I remember the Scarlets used to be, they used to play really great rugby, and they're always there or thereabouts in the league every year. And again, everyone's talked about Wales, and I think the thing that's going to keep them engaged, even if it doesn't go well for them, is how close they are to Cardiff. Because there's nothing like a local rivalry, as we know, to keep the mind on the game. Like they've done what they can, like it's all between the ears. There's a lot of skill in that team, but it's the important stuff is between the ears. Wales is in such a horrific position all around that it's very difficult for a team to park that for 80 minutes plus and put in a shift against the form team in the league. So they're going to go for it. I think what will keep them going, as I say, is that local rivalry, because like at the very least, that's what those Welsh club sides are fighting for. To whether it's finishing 9th and 10th, you know what I mean? That's what they're fighting for. They need their support to show up. The support needs something to show up for. It's this kind of rotten circle of everything. So yeah, like they're going to try, they're going to go for it. It is what it is.
Yeah, they're absolutely going to go for it. And one thing I always say this about the Welsh regions, because it's always true, you can always count on their back row. Whatever kind of you see throughout the team or teamwork or whatever's going off the pitch, they're going to put a quality back row out there. So, Vincent Gunn and Ross Byrne may not have things their own way, especially in the early stages. They're going to want to keep that scoreline down, keep it close as much as they can in the opening stages. So we'll see how they get on. Okay, we'll have a quick look at the officials now. Mike Adamson from Scotland is the referee, and with Welsh assistance. The weather for Llanelli on Saturday evening is officially increasing cloudiness, but there doesn't seem to be any chance of rain, no wind. Seems like perfect conditions for rugby there, so no problems there. Okay, we're going to have a quick look at one of the other matches on this weekend. Which one stands out for you?
Look, going back to what we started with talking about Munster, I'm going to be watching them this weekend. It's Friday night rugby, which I love. They're away in Cardiff. Again, it's going to be tough for them. I know in reality they should be winning these games. You know what I mean? That's at the very minimum. That's where Munster should be. They're not there right now, and there's been a lot going against them, and that may lead to them throwing their toys up in the air and saying, "Listen, it's just not happening for us." If they do the job right, there's still players there who are finishing up this season who they need to leave everything out on that pitch for. Even if you forget about everything else and do it for your team, they need to get out there and put a shift in and get a win. So I'll be watching that tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of other big games there too. Connacht, they're still on their South African tour. They're away to the Lions. Ulster hosts the Sharks. A lot of playoff implications there. And of course, the big one as far as the league is concerned is Glasgow in second against Bulls in third on Friday night. So that'll have a lot of impact on where Leinster are looking in terms of clinching first place. Okay, so those are the matches in the URC. Now, also this weekend, of course, we've got the final match for Ireland in the Women's Six Nations. They are playing in Edinburgh on Saturday against Scotland. That's on Virgin Media 1. Also like to give another quick shout out to the couple of fellow podcasters, Elva and Kino, who have their show covering all aspects of Irish rugby. They have many special guests. They call themselves Mother Rucker, the Irish Women's Rugby Podcast. They drop an episode every week in all the usual pod places, but they've also a bonus one this week covering the AIL final. Okay, so it's head on the block time, Keego. How do you see it going in Llanelli on Saturday?
Well said. I'm on a good run on Super Brew. I'm hoping to get that jersey out of the house. I'm being too conservative in my picks, so I'm going to go the opposite way. And I think it's going to be a big Leinster win. I think it's Leinster by 12-15.
You're on fire on the Super Brew, I have to say. Like, I don't know, you must be on the Weetabix when you're making the picks.
It's amazing when you actually engage and pick teams. Sometimes you actually win. So
don't just spin the app and see where it goes. I've been that soldier many a time at the last minute. Okay, listen, we're going to leave it there, man. Many thanks for joining us. What stand-up gigs do you have coming up?
So we're coming off a sold-out gig last night in Greystones, which is great. In Dublin on Sunday, and then we're back in Dublin the following week. So it's going to be great fun. Dublin May 5th, I believe, as well. So yeah, flying around the place, KeegoLaughs.com.
Brilliant stuff. You'll find all that, the links to all his stuff in the program notes. Okay, listen, many thanks to you all for checking out our latest preview show. If you can tune into Dublin South FM after the 5 o'clock news on Friday, you'll catch our latest Harpin segment there. Then be sure to enjoy the match wherever you are. Leave a comment on our Facebook page after the full-time whistle. We will, of course, have our wrap pod for you, which we'll record on Sunday night. Hopefully, you'll help us out by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Apologies for the video issues this week, but in the meantime, stay safe, everyone. Slán.